And welcome to today's episode of Let's Be Nerds. It's our third part of our music series. And today we have Stephen, Gordon, Bob, Carmen, and Dylan. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good,
Fantastic.
thanks.
Good.
Awesome. I have a bag of cough drops with me. It's my new best friend.
Oh no, are you feeling under the weather, buddy?
Oh yeah, for like the last 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, he was like hacking up a lung when he was over here. It's
I'm-
hilarious.
I'm down to one lung. Thank you for finding it funny.
Aw.
I hope you have triplets and they all look like Drew.
It's funny because you sound like our grandfather.
Don't remind me, because what do you think I think of every time I go, oh? I
The
see him
phlegm.
looking at me in the mirror.
Oh goodness.
I think you do have one of his sweaters that you wear around your house, so you did that to yourself.
I do. I have his pajama pants too that he gave me.
Oh
All
my.
right. Well, on that note, I think we're just gonna jump right back into music. So, Bob and Carmen, you guys were a little busy and weren't able to join us for the first part, so we're gonna turn it over to you guys. Carmen, I think you're gonna kick us off.
Yeah, and this was a hard one, honestly, for me to kind of figure out one particular song. I know on the past episodes you guys discussed different genres that you guys were into, and I think the one that kind of resonated with me was like I really got into like pop punk and emo really early, like end of middle school, early high school. And there's an album that I feel was like super formative for me, and that was Saves the Day, Stay What You Are. And from what I kind of looked up online, is it came out in 2001. Some people are saying that it's kind of the quintessential album that more or less started the emo genre. So Saves the Day was a
Oh.
band that had been around, right? That's according to some sources. I'm not saying that they are the one that started the emo genre, but they're one of the first.
I think maybe like the band that ushered in the sound that I think most people know.
Yeah,
I think that would be
it was
a fair
right.
statement.
They weren't. It wasn't like they had two singles off the album, Stay What You Are. They had At Your Funeral and Freakish. Both had music videos, were on MTV. I remember both of those music videos on MTV. But they came out at a time that 2001 was, you know, when a lot of pop punk in general was kind of becoming more mainstream. So you're having like Blink 182 blowing up on the radio, Green Day, Jimmy Eat World. So pop punk kind of overshadowed Jimmy Eat World in some sense, but a lot of people and critics looking back say, this was a really, really important album for the music genre in general. I think it reached 100 on the Billboard's top 200 charts.
Or
The album Stay What You
yeah,
Are.
yes.
It reached 100 on the top 200. I'm trying to think what else I read about it. There's honestly like so many good songs on it that I feel like the lyrics just speak to me. And I think I mentioned this in chat earlier is they hit this chord internally that I can't describe, but it just hits my core. And I'm like, 2001 Carmen was going through some weird stuff in her life, apparently. And the only outlet was this album in particular that just struck me. And it was like, oh, I feel like this guy's singing right now. And I don't feel alone kind of concept.
Mhm.
Like I felt heard through their lyrics, through their music.
Like he was speaking to you.
Directly.
Yeah.
It
And that's a wonderful thing.
is a wonderful thing. Doing a little bit of research, I kind of found out that apparently this album was created out of what could have been a tragedy. I don't know. I couldn't find much about what actually happened, but it said that in early 2000 there was some kind of a uh, accident, crash, collision with their tour bus, their tour van, and it could have ended the band. So it could have gone very badly. And coming
No.
out of that, right. I don't know what happened. I tried looking it up online. I couldn't find anything related. That might just be too old, going back 21 years ago. And that was early 2000. The internet probably wasn't what it is today. So it may not have had an internet article on it, so to speak.
Mhm.
I know I'm aging myself, guys. I'm sorry. But so if it wasn't for that tragic accident, that played like thematically into their music on that album. I think they also there's a song on the album that also plays homage to one of their friends that passed away from a heroin overdose. Yeah, it's parts of it are heavy, parts of it are, but at the same time, still kind of has that pop punk kind of feel. It's more melodic.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's melodic and kind of, but not as brooding. It's not screamy. It's just like a slower paced pop punk kind of feel.
Saves the Day kind of gives me like a Get Up Kids vibe in certain times.
They've been compared to the Get Up Kids.
Yeah.
They
I
actually
don't know who came first,
toured
but together.
once. Get Up Kids came first, I'm fairly certain.
That would be a great tour package, those two together.
Yeah, I think I read that they toured with the Get Up Kids. They also opened for, coincidentally, you've seen them because they opened for the pop punk Disaster.
They did. So I saw them. Well, we saw them. We were both at the
Technically, we
same
both
show.
saw them, but we weren't together. But we were at the same show.
What?
Probably, yeah. In 2002,
Uh-huh.
Green Day, Blink-182, and Saves the Day were on the Pop Disaster tour, and every time Green Day comes to town, of course, I'm there.
Same. It was in
And,
Pittsburgh, so it was not a concert in Pittsburgh that I
Yeah.
probably didn't go to.
And me and my buddy Joe, we were in the pit. You were in the pit.
I was definitely in the
We
pit.
would have had to have been within 50 feet of each other, maybe.
Yeah. This is 2002, prehistoric, us knowing one another.
That's really freaking cool.
About 6 years before we ever met.
Before.
6 years before we ever met.
But probably had I seen her then, I would have chased her for 6 years.
that
The
wasn't
girl at the
show that
rock
you got.
show.
It was
Sorry.
I was the girl at the rock show.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't the concert you got pulled up on stage on, was it?
that was the concert that
That
Joe
was
got pulled up on
Joe
stage.
got pulled up on stage. Okay.
Yeah.
Hilarious, by the way. I just love that.
What?
Wait.
Just the fact that you were both at the same concert 6 years before you knew each other.
Honestly, we did the math.
There was a couple
There's
shows
quite a
where
few
we were
shows
at the
that-
same shows.
Yeah, that we were both at the same shows and didn't realize. Hollow stars have aligned for us in so many ways.
That's so cute. Blocks it deletes.
I know, right?
Oh, angry comment.
Angry comment. No.
Send them a
No,
cease
it's
and
just-
desist.
For another podcast, we'll retell the story of the night we met. It's comedic gold.
It is comedic gold.
And I do feel like it needs to be on file because I think it's yes, it needs to be on record. Let's
Well,
put
A
it that
different
way.
kind of podcast.
Different kind of podcast.
Yeah.
But either way, Saves the Day is a band that I have seen many times in my life. They're probably one of the bands that I have seen the most of.
Mhm.
With also other, like Less Than Jake is another band I've seen a lot, the most. I've seen them the most. Saves the Day is my close second. It's just something about that album, and they've had other ones before. They've had other ones after it, but it's nothing spoke to like that kind of like early teenager, entering high school. Like me personally, 2001 was when, I graduated 8th grade in 2000, started high school my freshman year, 2000, 2001 school year. So I'm a freshman in a new, school, new building, the little man on the totem pole. And I think while like I was kind of popular and I had a lot of friends, I did a lot of like the popular girl things. I was on the dance team. There's still like a part of me that was like this imposter syndrome where it's like, okay, yeah, by all appearances, I'm the cool kid, but I don't feel like the cool kid. I don't feel like anybody gets me. I don't feel like I can be myself. And this album spoke to that to me. Is it was something that kind of touched on. I felt like it got that there's something else inside of me, that appearances, the outward appearance of who we are, what we do, or what we show people we want to do isn't always what it's cracked up to be.
And this makes me want to, and I'm not trying to diverge from what you're saying at all, Carmen, because I think it's in step with it. But this is why I think that pop punk, punk in general, has always been something that I've related to and affiliated myself with. And if I could just pose like a general question,
Mm-hmm.
What Carmen described as like the not fitting in, you weren't the pumped up kicks kid, like you were you
No,
were like
it came a
Hey,
little bit later for me.
hey,
Sorry, it's
hey.
still a good song.
but like do you understand what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's maybe a commonality within this group, because I think Lizette, you and I have even shared with each other that with different points, especially in adolescence, like maybe that's a commonality. We didn't always feel like we felt we fit in, or that even if we did fit in, that we were able to be our true selves. So I
Yeah,
guess like a round table question, like is that a common experience that we all share, would you say?
Absolutely for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Gordon?
mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I I think that's part of why our group gets along so well. Like one of the many reasons, if I'm being honest.
yeah. We're all the
Oh,
misfit toys on our own little island.
I was just going to reference that.
Well,
I was going to say we're the island of misfit toys
Yeah,
in a way,
in a
but
way.
like because we all found each other, and it's not like, I mean, I'm not going to say that because
I
if
was
you
dragged out of a hole, so
but it's like we all are, we're all relatively normal people with good hygiene. It wasn't like we were that kid, but like
No.
not us bullying other people, but
wow, you really had to throw out that kid.
sorry. But like in that kid, God bless that person that went through that struggle. I just think what I'm trying to describe is a different struggle. And it's, you feel like you're everything to everybody else and no one really sees you and you're unheard and you're not really your real self. And then this music outlet makes you feel, and I didn't understand it. I just knew it made me feel good, but it wasn't until
Yeah,
adulthood that I realized the importance of representation in media, no matter what
yeah,
format, television, music, movies, anything. To see somebody reflected back to you that speaks to you, like you said, Carmen, like really you felt
yeah.
that album was talking to you. That is so important in development. And I never got it. I enjoyed it, but I never fully understood it until I was an adult and realized how much it meant to me.
Agree. I was just talking to Bobby about that when I was thinking about doing this for the topic tonight is, 2001 Carmen apparently was going through some crazy stuff in her life that now 2021 Carmen is finally going to therapy and unpacking all of this stuff. And it's not like, you know, it's not like it's a super traumatic experience, but like when you're that young and impressionable and you don't have the coping skills or the coping mechanisms to, deal with whatever stress or situations you're going through in life, you do kind of turn to that outlet of where can I feel heard? And maybe for a lot of us, I think at
Or
least,
even understood.
or even understood, music was that outlet where we felt heard in some way, shape, or form. And even if we couldn't put the words exactly to say what it was we felt, there was something about the music we were listening to at that time in our lives that,
It captured the spirit.
yeah, if we couldn't figure out the words to say, the music did the feelings for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I love it. Could I? I'm sorry, Leslie. I'm kind of hijacking the moderation right
Oh,
now, and I
you're
apologize.
no, you're 100% fine because I'm like half asleep and this works. It's fine. Go ahead.
Well,
I
but I
offered you
think,
that 5-hour energy.
but Liza, I think this story that I'm 5 hour energy is, oh my god. Just drink
Dude,
coffee, black, like
coffee doesn't do
everybody
it
else.
anymore. No, black coffee.
What
I
if you
used to
put your
drink.
5 hour in your coffee?
I've done that. It's terrible, but it gave me the weirdest jitters ever. I
So
used to
call
drink 12-shot espresso Americanos.
Oh my,
when I
oh
Yikes.
my.
when I drink coffee, I sleep better. Like I will go to sleep with coffee. It doesn't keep me awake.
Our family has some
Same.
issues. Like
What? No, we're fine.
That's
there's some
actually
genetic deformities or something. Like that's
that's
not
act
normal.
I
that's
think I just
actually
drink coffee for the taste at this point in life.
it's an
Yeah.
Really? So Carmen, you're
it's an
oh maybe
ADHD thing.
It
is it
is.
really?
Yes.
It
So
is.
do we all have like the same taste in music and the same mental disorders?
Probably.
I think we just leveled up, guys.
I think we just
But
leveled up.
did we just become best friends?
Boost the server to
Mhm.
Nitro. Boost the server to Nitro immediately. But I do want to share one Carmen story that relates to, oddly enough, the punk rock genre because okay. And Liza, I think you'll appreciate this because you you serve a similar position in my life and within the family that Carmen did and does back in this time period. Because like right now, Carmen and I are kind of like we're all like kind of grown up, so it's not so much like the going out and like the doing things and the partying days or whatever, but like
As as
back,
Blink-182 said, I guess this is growing up.
yes, but there was like a time period where, and Bobby, I will not name names, but I was gonna always support you no matter what. But there was like these girls that Bob brought around that he liked, and they were nice enough, but they just weren't it. And then Carmen enters the fold, and I believe we one of the first things we connected about was music and about
Mhm.
school, and you guys really helped me like on the music front especially, but like just in life in general, like you kind of saw me in the same way that the music was seeing me. Like you understood that I was like a disgruntled youth that wanted to like go kick over garbage cans or something, like do some derelict shit.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this one night. We were in a social situation at my parents' house, and like I it could have gone every way from bad because there was people that were here and you were really new to the fold, Carmen. Like you were not ring on hand, you were girlfriend at that point. And
Okay.
me and you me and you were imbibing a little bit, and this group of people descended upon our party at my parents' house, and like I didn't have to tell you that the situation was really complicated because I was maybe in an entanglement with somebody that showed up, and it was like a whole thing. And you and I were like 100% like, you got it. You got me, and you understood me, and you understood that like the punk rock side of me wanted to like just break shit and like be crazy, but like you
Fight
grounded me.
people.
But I also knew that like if things did get weird, you had my back.
I
And
wish I could remember what you're talking about
I'm
because it
being
sounds
very
familiar, but it
I'm
doesn't sound familiar.
I'm being very, very general because I know a lot of people would be upset if I said specifics that,
We'll talk
and I
about
know,
it later.
and I know that there are people that would know what I'm referring to that listen to this. Anyway, but had we not formed that initial bond where I was like, oh, this is the best girl Bobby's brought around. This girl gets it. She gets me. I'm seen. I wouldn't have been able to get through that situation. And
Yeah.
again, this builds on like what music gives to us because it allowed me to be an easier friend. Like I was like, oh no, she's cool as shit. She's down to clown. She's a she's a normal human. Like I don't have to play pretend and like act like somebody I'm not. I
Yeah.
can I can be a slopopotamus. I believe that was a term we used at one point in time. And she's gonna be like, understand you're stressed and you're punk rock and it's like whatever.
I mean,
And
yeah.
and that's like what I think the bond, and I think that's really where I want to tie this episode in is like the bond that music can create among people that, quite frankly, Carmen, at that point, we could have been considered strangers.
Yeah.
But like I knew because of like what you brought to the table and what you represented based on literally
Attracting new
not much beyond the fact that Bobby liked
customers
you
has
and you liked the
been
same music I liked. Like that's really a hope and a prayer I was going on. And it was
I
right.
think that's I was gonna say I think that's enough though. I mean,
Yeah. Because you
there
got
are there are other relationships that are formed on far less than that,
Mhm.
and sometimes that's a good starting place. You have that one commonality of something, whether it's same genre in music or same band or same song or whatever the case might be. You find that one common thread, and then from there you can kind of string theory, unpack it, unravel it, and find that you have more threads that are similar until your sweater is literally coming undone.
And then
Exactly.
you're just lying on the floor.
I
And then
see
you
what
just
you did
find on the
there.
floor.
Points to Dylan.
And Liza, I will
No,
circle.
and
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, Liza, I will circle back to why that ties into you in my wrap up. So stay tuned.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
He thinks
Just-
your
just to-
dialect too.
just to add on that, I knew I was going to marry Carmen very early on because we were riding around in my truck.
Oh
And
yeah, I know this story.
again, this was like 2008, and Muse, the band Muse came on, and at that time, like they were like still breaking out, but not quite mainstream yet. And she was like, "Oh yeah, this is Muse. I love this song." And I was like, "You what?"
It was a song that wasn't a single
Yeah.
yet,
And,
and I knew all the words to it.
and I was like, "Girls don't like Muse. This is awesome." You know, and so I knew right there that that was it. So,
She was your muse, that's all.
I love
oh man, Dylan with more
Oh.
points.
Oh my God, Dylan, that was like actually beautiful.
It's
That was.
actually beautiful.
I
I mean, I
sometimes come out of my trash can.
Oh no, I
Aw,
didn't mean it
thanks,
like
Oscar.
I'm so upset that
I'm still
Delaney's
happier
not
than you.
here. Delaney's not here to make memes for us about this because you know she would have had some good
Oh.
ones.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna hold her to listening to the
Sure.
re-recording and making memes after the fact. The
That can
life of
happen.
the life of the social media manager. I'm sorry.
Them's the rules.
Shame.
Oh my. Well, with that being said, I think, Carmen, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we jump to an ad break, or are you good with cutting here and we can come
Yeah.
back and speak with Bobby?
No, I'm pretty well wrapped up. Like I said, I had a hard time really picking just one individual solitary song. For me, that entire album is very formative, just who I was as a person, and just kind of on the genre alone of pop punk and emo. It was kind of what started the new wave. So a lot of the bands that people got into, like you were saying in your first episode, Stephen, where you kind of liked that 2000, yeah,
Dashboard.
early 2000s, like the Dashboards, the Taking Back Sundays, Forever, Further Seems Forever, like all those emo bands kind of came quote unquote after, so to speak, or at least their commercial success came after Saves the Days, Stay What You Are. So if
Sure.
it wasn't for that album, they may not have had necessarily the or that one album
Yeah, I think
in with others.
I think it further opened a door for bands like that.
So become more mainstream, more popular, more radio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound like an odd comparison, but hear me out. I made a comparison when we were in our episode 2 that'll be out this Friday, the 10th. I made a comparison. I made a comparison that Taylor Swift, love her or hate her, we kind of got into that. But I made a comparison that for female artists, she blazed a trail and opened doors. So essentially,
100%.
Carmen,
Still is.
Still is.
that's yes, and that's kind of what you're describing. Is like it takes one person walks so the next person can run, and I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely. They may not have been the first band, so to speak, but they were definitely a very formative band for the genre, and them along with other bands at that time. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have the popularity you have with the genre.
For sure. Yeah, there's quantum leaps.
Right.
You know, and Saves the Day was certainly part of that.
That quantum leap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's pretty much all I had to say. Is I love that album. Stay What You Are is a great album. If you've never heard it before, I
Give
know
it a
it's
spin.
give it a spin. I know it's ancient, but it's great.
Cream it for clearer skin, baby.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that note, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, and we will be right back.
One.
And we are back. So I really appreciate what you brought to the table, Carmen. And now I want to transition to Bob, and I want to see what he is bringing to the table, because what he described to us in the chat had me pretty excited. So, Bob, take it away.
Well, you know, I was really excited when you started this music topic. You know, this is something that if you only had a podcast about this, I could appear on it every day, talk for hours in great detail about any and all of it. So it was really hard to pick just one, as I think everybody has that problem because music is such a big part of our lives. But I wanted to focus today on a band called Angels and Airwaves. And this was a really important band for me. The song I'm going to talk briefly about is Secret Crowds, which is one of my favorites. But I think if I had to introduce the band to somebody that never heard them before, I would choose that song because I feel like it is a great image and shows off the motif that the band is going for.
Okay.
Just a little bit of backstory for anyone who doesn't know or the listeners out there is um, Angels and Airwaves was started by former Blink 182 frontman Tom DeLonge. And he left the band to basically create music that explored, you know, themes of life, death, love, anger, dreams, and consciousness, the larger themes of humanity. And it was something that, when that band came out, I was kind of in a personal transition, kind of rediscovering myself, and they really helped me through that time. And with that song, Secret Crowds, it's a very uplifting song. And there's, really great contrast imagery in it, such as with lyrics like, um, spread love like violence, spread hope like fire. I mean, that's some powerful uh, lines right there.
Yeah, visual
Mhm.
imagery.
Mm-hmm. And, it also talks about, unity and just coming together. And I think that that message back then, um, was as much needed as it's needed now in a very fractured and isolated world. I think the world needs more of that.
Especially, yes, given what we're all experiencing, what we're all going through. I agree. We need the unity. We need the connection.
Yeah. And the song itself is very like epic sounding, it has a lot of like big heavy drums, the guitar chords, like everything just feels very like powerful. So like when you first hear the opening intro of the song, it sounds like boots marching, literally boots marching. No, wait, I'm thinking of
Thinking of the war, but yeah, the song builds
it
and
does build up
and it
though.
has a big opening guitar riff, and then it really soars high in the chorus because you have this massive church bell
Yeah.
ringing in the background, just like one big bell hit, at each measure of the chorus, and you just feel something. I to this day when I hear it, I can still get goosebumps.
It's the lyrics themselves are like emotionally charged and energetically charged, but then like the music also is energetically charged, and so like you hear it together, and if you just blast that, crank it to 11 in your headphones, and like literally you are going to hear some crazy stuff and just feel like you're on a whole nother level.
It's one of
And
those soul-bending songs, just
Pretty
about.
much, yeah.
it's very uplifting. So Tom DeLonge obviously, comes from the punk rock community, and a lot of those, um, even though it's a much different sound, it still maintains that punk ethos, that inclusion, that
Yeah.
lift everybody up. If you're alone tonight, you at least have me kind of vibe, and that's something that resonates with me still to this day.
I mean, it kind of had to at the last concert.
Yeah,
So we were both supposed to go to Angels and Airwaves together, and um, Shane had a
he had an exposure to
exposure to
COVID.
COVID, so he had to quarantine. And because Shane had to quarantine, we're both vaccinated, so we're just kind of monitoring our symptoms. But obviously, one of us had to stay home just in case Shane was positive. So
Mhm.
Bobby had to go to the concert by himself, and I'm pretty sure you made friends, and they thought you were a roadie.
Yeah. Yeah, brief story about that is we had VIP passes to the show, which got us access to the sound check. So I showed up early to the venue and I went to sound check. And after sound check was over, I had like about I had some time to kill before I had to go back in. So I walked across the street to the bar and I had dinner. And I had my pass on, and there was these people eyeballing me from the end of the bar, just kind of looking at me. I'm sitting by myself on my phone, eating, and then they keep looking at me, and then finally we make eye contact, and they go, "Are you in the band?" And I said, "No, no, no, I'm not." And they're like, "Come on, man, you got your pass, and you look like you're in the show." I said, "I swear I'm not." And I said, "Look, see, it's just a VIP pass."
Meanwhile, where was that when it was 2007, 2000, or no, 2009? What's it called? Warp Tour. Yeah, 2009 Warp Tour. Like, yeah, we're supposed to be here. Didn't they tell you?
That's another story for another time of our successful yet not successful infiltration to the Warp Tour.
Yeah, Bobby stuck into the Warp Tour and almost played it.
Just like bum rushed him.
But anyway,
Anyway,
so Angels and Airwaves, you were by yourself, but yet you didn't feel like you were by yourself.
absolutely not. And it's just like an Angels and Airwaves concert is like more of a celebration of all the themes I just talked about. And Tom, in between songs, does a great job of telling stories that kind of unite. And again, when I talk about the broader themes of humanity covers, he actually turned me on to a study that is currently ongoing. It's only a few years in, so nothing, of course, is conclusive. But there's several studies out there that kind of shed a new light on the human consciousness through music. Has anybody heard about this at all?
I personally have not.
I say I have not.
When you
Okay.
shared it, I got really interested, and I'm really excited to hear about it.
Okay. So this study has shown that concert goers, complete strangers, when they're at that concert, the music causes each concert goer's brain waves to sync up with one another. And I think that that's, when you really stop to think about that, that is a very powerful thing. We know that music makes us feel certain ways about ourselves. But, in that moment, you can bet that everybody feels exactly the same way that you do.
So that kind of takes what I was thinking, that feeling what saves the day, and like being at a concert, putting it on a whole nother wavelength. So like now you're literally connecting with other people literally through brainwaves and all like syncing up and leveling up at the exact same time.
Right. And one of the studies, expands on that even further, where not only are your brainwaves syncing up with the other concert goers, but even the performer themselves. And I just think that that's also incredibly powerful, especially if you're seeing somebody that means so much to you. I can't think of a closer connection that you can have with somebody.
So that's kind of even putting it into like scientific terms, like when somebody says like, "Oh yeah, you feel the energy of the room," and you just kind of feed off of that energy. But like here's actual kind of still in process, still getting data for it, but you're literally putting scientific evidence behind why you feel that you're vibing off the energy in the room.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And putting it like on paper and showing it's not just a feeling, it's legit. Here's your brainwaves to show you guys you're feeling the energy and it is affecting you.
And it's bringing, total strangers together, maybe from completely different walks of life, that, on paper, these, backstories or personality traits might be like water and oil, but in that moment at that show,
you're all connected through music.
Yeah. And I just think that's the most amazing thing ever.
Not to be like basic about it, but it's like,
Oh God.
I believe in the stop. I genuinely do believe in the power of like serotonin. And I
Yeah.
believe that it's like a euphoric, it's something that's like shared. And I wonder, is that something like when you finally make it through like the long day and the wait and the line and the whole anticipation, it's like everybody's kind of experiencing that same level of serotonin, that same level of pure happiness, unbridled joy, whatever adjective you want to throw at it. I, I, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I guess I get it. And
Yeah.
having like experienced it and lived it, like I know, and like being at concerts with you guys and like looking over and seeing that like your energy level is matching my energy level, and we haven't communicated because we're just enjoying the show.
And you're
But
too busy
then,
singing
But we are
along.
yeah,
We
communicating.
are
yes,
communicating and not
That's the
realizing
thing.
it.
kind of
And
beautiful.
what's even more exciting about that is I feel like it shows this, unlocked potential that every single one of us has, what humanity has. And, there's, for me, from this view, it gives me hope that, maybe we can better understand this. Like maybe these studies get more traction, get better funding, and we start to really unlock what it is to be human. I know I've said this a few times, but like these are the kind of things that I personally think about more now than ever, you know,
Yeah,
and I think, you know, uh, given everything that we've all been through and this whole world has been through the last couple of years, it's a good time for reflection and maybe to look at the things that, um, look at other things and other possibilities to help better understand what's happening to us and also a more positive and meaningful way to move forward. And yeah,
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge opened my mind to that.
yeah,
Well, I just want to say that whole article and that like discussion there about that really brings to mind of me like how for pretty much forever people have been making music and stuff like that and
Mhm.
using it to tell stories and get everyone
Mhm.
on the same page because you used to share history like that through
Yep.
Hmm.
songs and stories like that with music because the music gets everyone on the same beat, gets everyone on
Yep.
the same page, and it kind of helps everyone to retain knowledge. And
Yep.
I love
mhm,
that.
Yeah. Before the written word, the song, like the bird is a word, literally.
Yep.
Like,
But no, like drum circles, like
yeah.
ancient drum
Ancient drum
circles.
circles. Oh
Uh-huh.
gosh, yeah. Yeah, music was their form of communication long before written form of communication existed for
in a
many
form,
cultures.
of community and connection.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's a form of entertainment that teaches so much more than anyone would think until they actually sit down and find that song that just grabs your heart and just follows along with the beat of it.
I mean, heck, it still teaches today. I mean, what's the first song that you guys learned to sing? Was it your alphabet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enter Sandman.
Naturally.
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 Yeah.
Naturally. But yeah, I mean, music is still capable of teaching. It's still capable of, fostering young minds. And then as you kind of grow, you go away from like the nursery rhyme stuff in the remedial educational parts of it. And then you start learning about who you are as a person and maybe tapping into those emotional energies and that emotional intelligence that, as you're maturing, you're kind of tapping into things that you may not have thought about when you were younger
Hmm. Like the same song that you've loved for years can mean different things to you.
as an adult.
Yeah, absolutely.
I, I dig it. I don't know. It just speaks to why, I guess, why we're doing the series and why I want to share it with so many people, because it's like it's incredible, like the connections in the community and the passion, and I don't know. I'm
And I mean,
like,
we all kind of have different tastes as well too, but yet you see that we're all kind of connected with what music does to us. So it doesn't have to be the same genre. We don't have to all be, totally in love with death metal or country music or pop punk to understand that level of what music can do for you and to you.
Absolutely. Because, what doesn't resonate with, say any of us certainly resonates with somebody else. And how can anybody take away from that? Because music is such a personal thing.
Yeah. Touches your soul.
I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so if anybody that hasn't heard the band, I would welcome them to start with that song and explore it from there. And just I hope that people enjoy it, at least even some part, as much as I enjoy it, because it's a band that'll stay with me forever.
Agreed.
Love it. You introduced them to me, and I've always had a soft spot for them. But I think this is encouraging me to have a revisit to maybe understand more of the impact and the power that they hold.
I have them sitting in a playlist right now.
And
Sweet, sweet.
we need Delaney to add these to the official Spotify playlist that she's curating for us.
Yes.
Music time.
It's another cool thing about Angels and Airwaves is Tom always viewed it as a multimedia art project. Like music was one aspect of it. He directed a film to go with the double album. It was called the Love Album, and they had a movie called Love as well too. That those two albums served as the soundtrack. And then currently, on their most recent release, they just released a new album called Life Forms, and that's going to serve as the soundtrack to the forthcoming movie that he's directed called Monsters of California. And so I mean, the album is out. Love the album, and I'm excited to see how it'll sync up with the movie.
Speaking of soundtracks, I feel like soundtracks are a very underappreciated genre of music. I can consider them a
Agreed.
genre.
Agreed.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
a whole playlist of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and a couple other movies where it's just the orchestral soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Same here too.
So you know what our favorite one is that we just recently got, and it was kind of by accident. The original score for Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim, we have that.
Yeah. Not like the music you hear that's actually like playing with they're like the Battle of the Bands, which is what I
Yeah.
thought I was getting, which would have been equally as cool because I love those songs when they're doing like the Battle of the Bands. But it's just like legitimately like the score of the
Yeah,
of the
this is
movie.
like the 8-bit Universal intro to like the bass battle,
Yeah.
like those kind of things are
It's
in there.
it's that music that sets the tone and the mood
Yes.
that you don't realize is there
Yeah.
until you
Mhm.
actually think about it. And I feel like people need to appreciate that more when it comes to movies. They need to appreciate that background music.
Yes.
Because who
Agreed.
doesn't hum a theme song to themselves when they're doing something?
Yeah, for sure.
And it does. It sets the tone. It sets the mood for what scene. Because without that, like, I'm trying to think of movies that there's. Oh gosh, I wish I could think of a movie. There was a movie. It was a scary movie that came out in, like the early 2000s, and I can't think of the name of it. But it was silent. It was quiet, and it didn't have.
Quiet Place?
No, not A Quiet Place. Um, it kind of had like a Children of the Corn esque thing to it, but it wasn't Children of the Corn. But it took place like in a field, and things came out of it. I'll have to find it, and we'll figure it out
Signs?
later. Not Signs, no. But whatever this movie was, is there was literally no soundtrack to it whatsoever. So like where you expected most horror movies to have something kind of happen, if like the monster would creep up and jump out from like behind that closed door, you'd expect like some kind of fast pace, like like as it's chasing somebody.
Oh yeah.
You have nothing. So that's what made it, I think, even creepier as a scary horror movies because there was no music in the background that helped you to understand like is this supposed to be suspenseful or is this nothing, and then as you're being chased or the characters are being chased, like there's no music to go with it to say like, okay, well, is this life threatening, is this endangering, is something going to happen, like I don't know how to feel because there was no music that went with
Yeah,
it.
that had to be very awkward. I
It
can't. I don't
was.
know what movie that is,
I want to
but
watch that.
I have to figure it out. I'll find out which one it was. I know it was early 2000s. It was something like a farmhouse with corn, people locked in it. I'll figure it out though.
You have me very intrigued because there are a few episodes of TV shows that I've watched recently that made a point because they took like a particular episode and showed it from the point of view of someone who was either deaf or hard of hearing.
Yes.
And
Yes. The
they
Walking Dead did that too.
okay, but Only Murders in the Building did one,
Oh, okay.
and like there was some soundtrack to it, and it was mostly like they took dialogue away, but the episode was very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe there were, Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, were there a few scenes in Hawkeye that have been like either
Um,
really muffled or at least very quiet?
episode 2, whenever it went to Hawkeye's perspective on certain moments, it
Okay.
was a very almost like you popped your ears and they're clogged, like very muffled, very kind of like that slight whining noise in the back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
But
that's just
it's
me.
I thought that was
um
Steven, I'm sorry.
but those particular episodes that I'm thinking of definitely like they stood out to me because they were being used as a kind of a tool for representation,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time it was immediately apparent, like you guys are saying, you don't really notice the background soundtrack
Right.
until it's
Not
not
there.
there.
Yeah, till
and
it's not there.
yeah, and then you're immediately like, well, something is off. And Carmen, like you were saying, it we don't realize how much that guides our expectations of
Mm-hmm.
what is happening until it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, like you said, like there's some episodes of TV shows that are doing that in an effort to kind of like be more inclusive and diversity. And I know The Walking Dead has recently done it because they do have an actress who is deaf. And
Mm.
that was part of the scenes that they filmed was from her perspective.
And that actually was easily one of my most favorite episodes
It is the
in the last couple of
creepiest
years.
episode as well
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the episode of Only Murders in the Building when Delaney and I were watching it. Like we were laughing, kind of joking back and forth, like this is really weird. We don't know what to think, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like it was just fascinating. Like it really I don't want to say it put things in perspective because that's not what I mean, but like it changed the way I looked at the whole show
Yeah.
because that particular character was a background character until they did this episode from his point of view. And I don't know, it's interesting seeing them do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a very cool change up. Um, man, is the score so important.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad we all agree.
We
As I
are
listen to the Riders of Rohirrim on my way home.
we are all music nerds. I think we can agree on that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So does anybody have anything else before I wrap it up?
No, I'm good. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak on it.
Same.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys were able to make it for part of this because I would not have felt that the music series would have been complete without you. So I have to admit, this whole series was a little bit of, I guess you could say, a little bit of a selfish move on my part because I feel like with this group of people, and I've used this term probably on the podcast, probably in the meetings we've had, in the planning meetings we've had. But for me, I, I guess it's a little bit weird in a sense because I realize how fortunate I am because this is a meshing of truly some of the best people of my life from so many different avenues of my life in different time periods and different phases. But when the idea got pitched, I realized we had to make it happen because this is something that unifies all of us and it connects us. And
Mhm.
I'm not trying to Shanghai the end of this, but I don't think each of you individually realize how much you all matter to me and what you've meant to me. And it wasn't until I really started to do like this deep dive that I realized like there's a connection. And even, I don't know, like even if we have gone periods of time without speaking, or even if life's gotten in the way, as it does when you enter into adulthood, and you know, I,
Hmm.
I wish we could all be at a young age where we didn't have the responsibilities and didn't have all of that, but that's not, you know, that's not where we're at. But I guess for the wrap up, I want to say like this is such an important subject. This is such a, a theory that I want the listeners to take away, that connecting with your friends and your loved ones on a musical level can be so empowering, because there will be things created through music that will always resonate with you and remind you of those people. And so, if you can bear with me, I have made a little bit of a list, and I want to bore you to death and explain what song I associate. Do we have time for that? Is everybody cool with that, real
Yeah,
quick?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd
I,
love to
I
hear that.
I will try to make it brief, and I'll try not to get emotional. Is that a fair game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Delaney, of course, was on the first two episodes. She's super tired because of her not being here. But her and I, one of our first base understandings was the mutual love of Taylor Swift. Delaney and I, it was a weird situation because of age. Lizette and I, within the family, we connected first because we were the
Old
old.
people.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. Thank you. Exactly. And she's a big Taylor Swift fan. And there is a song that always stuck out to me about her, and it's a song Taylor Swift wrote called 15. And it's essentially regarding a friend of hers that didn't make the best choices. And I think that Delaney will know what I mean. And why it resonates with me about her is I always felt an obligation, like because I was so far away, I could never be there to really protect her. Even though I know she had Dylan, she had Drew, she had Lizette, and she had so many people, but I always felt like I could have done more. But that song to me, I know that like I don't know, she will understand it. And if she was here, I think she would get what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to leave this for her for whenever she is listening to this back for social media. Um, so I want to move on. Gordon, there is a song that I think that resonates with you and I, having been through some of the stuff that we've had, and we have a very oddly similar path. I'm sure you've heard of this song, but the Dashboard Confessional song, Vindicated, have you
Good
heard
song.
it?
Good
I
song.
don't know. I might have. I don't really pay attention to the name of music unless I really, really like the song.
Well, if you can take this opportunity to listen to it, I think you and I have been through some hardships, and I think you and I have come out on the other side much better than what people thought of us, or what was said about us, or what we went through. And so that song is something that I attribute to you. So if you can take the time to listen to it, and those of you listening, I encourage you to listen to it. It's absolutely beautiful. Dylan, I got one for you, buddy. Are you
Oh boy.
familiar with Are you familiar with the Fray?
Yes, a
Are you
little bit.
familiar with Are you familiar with the song Vienna?
No, not off the top of my head.
It's fine. I want you to go listen to it, because having reconnected with you through this podcast, which has been an incredible thing, you and I didn't necessarily get off on always the right foot when we were younger. And this
I was a little
podcast,
shit.
I was a big shit. And this song makes me remember that there's always a second chance. There's always a chance to make it better. And I want you to listen to it because it's a little sad, but I think you and I, our friendship that we're growing is so much bigger than what we were as children. Like that didn't define us. And now in adulthood, we're actual friends. And I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So please listen to that song. Those of you listening, listen as well. God, I feel like I'm taking forever. I apologize. Miss Carmen, I got one for you.
Yes. Oh, okay.
You have been there with me through thick and thin. I have been there in times when things have not been that good for you. And
Okay.
I love our resilience in our friendship, and I love your resilience as a human because it's inspired me. And there is not a single time that I can listen to this song and not think of you and think of what you've been through that it doesn't inspire me to do better and push on. Are you familiar with Gym Class Heroes?
Yes.
I want you to re-listen to the song "The Fighter" with Ryan Tedder because
Okay.
that's how I view you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bobby Dub,
Yes, sir.
my musical inspiration, and you brought this up in the break. We have seen this band multiple times. We've seen multiple bands multiple times together, and
Yes.
you stepping in the way you did when I needed you the most will never be forgotten or lost on me. And when I've lost my way, you've always been the person that was in my corner and told me that I was doing all right and just fine. And so I want you to listen to the Motion City soundtrack, even though we've heard it live, I believe twice. I want you to listen to Time Turned Fragile because that's a song that makes me think of you.
A great
And it,
song.
yeah,
And thank
and
you.
it just, you'll never understand the impact and the development you had on me as a man. And that song, when I hear it, and I believe the lyrics have a little bit of a negative connotation, but it's basically somebody that was younger in a friend group that went through some struggles and I, I, I hope and I believe turned it around. I believe that's what they based the lyrics off of. Um, can't get through that song without thinking about you, buddy. And I appreciate everything you've done for me and everything you've been for me when I needed you the most.
I almost don't even have words, buddy. And I'm so proud of you. And yeah, sorry, you got me speechless here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just let's get through it. Not crying yet, Lizette. You already know.
Of
Um,
course. It could only be one.
and it's Drops of Jupiter by Train.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, much like Bob and Carmen, you are somebody that has been there for me when I haven't always been good back. And we've had our private discussions, and we are on the best path that we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And much like what I did to Bob and Carmen, I always felt like I knew that certain people in your life are always going to be there. And sometimes we don't treat those people the best because it's a punching bag and it's you hurt the people that are always going to be there. But one thing I could never escape is that song resonated with us because we were so similar yet so different. And
Mm-hmm.
that song speaks to that in the lyrics of just got back from your soul vacation. And uh, I didn't, it's almost made more sense throughout the years. I mean, it just happened to be like a similar song that we both liked, but I never realized that the lyrics would sync up with our lives the way that it did. And they can come out with 1,000,001 more songs, and they're all phenomenal. And Pat Monahan is, talented, but that is our origin story. And that is every time that I've needed somebody, and even when I was in a place where I realized I had not been the greatest to you, I would listen to that song and it would bring me back to a place where I knew that one day you and I would be back in a good place. And sometimes that's what you need. It's the way that music connects all of us, and I guess that's why I wanted to do this series because there's something here with everybody, and I truly love you all, and I hope that the people listening understand what I'm trying to convey is associate these lyrics, associate these words, and take them in, associate them with the people you love because it'll help you realize sometimes you're an asshole and it'll sometimes help you realize what you have. And Liza, that song meant the world to me, and I think that we both know what all that means.
Yes.
And
I am. You're fine.
I'm just trying
I,
not to cry because I'm like,
no,
Aw.
I'm not gonna let you get away that easy. I know when we first kind of realized and connected that song with each other, it was more for some of the lines, like the 5 hour phone conversation and all that stuff. It was more of like a joke.
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely agree with you that as time goes by, we definitely find more meaning to it each year that goes by. And I haven't listened to it for a little bit, but I think it's long overdue for a couple listens on repeat, probably.
Yeah, I'm the luckiest man in the world because this is truly a group of people that I cannot do without. And you're from different stages in my life, and you're all together, and we're making this great show. And it's not a sad show, damn it, but it's a good show. And I want people that are listening to see this bond and have what we have because we're blessed.
Indeed.
All right, I got through it. I didn't do.
You
It wasn't
got
that
through it.
bad,
You
right?
did so
It was
good.
Love you,
sappy.
buddy.
That was
Love
very
you.
Hallmark. Like I felt like that was a little bit much, but I had to do it. I wrote it. I had to. You write it. If you don't say it, you'll regret it. Anyway, I love you all, and I love those of you that are listening and supporting. Thank you for being on this journey with us. Um, the normal plugs. I don't really. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Follow us on Discord. It's come to our attention that some of you that are listening don't know what Discord truly is, so we're going to be addressing that, and we're going to kind of explain what the perks are on joining on that front. So we hope to see you there. Um, Give us a like, a rate, a review. Please tell us what music means best to you. Please share this with a friend. Share this experience and this understanding, and if this speaks to you in any way, share this message because we are living in a very not so good time, and connection with friends, connection with family, friends that become your family. This connection is so important right now, and that's what we're trying to build here. And we are blessed, and we want to share that blessing with you. And we will see you in the next one. And thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring this podcast because without you, it wouldn't be possible. Gordon, Lizette, are you guys as excited about the New Year's Eve special as I am?
You know it, Steve.
I mean, I know me and Drew are excited. We're both going to be there. And I think, Dylan, you're going to be there too, aren't you?
You bet your shiny gold buttons I'll be there.
Guys, do you know who else? Carmen, you are coming. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me and Bobby wouldn't miss it for the world.
So this is going to be our first time doing a live event, and people that are listening can actually come in, join the chat. They can join in on a microphone or through text chat, and they can actually be a part of it. This is like the best way to end season one.
I lost my left shoe thinking about it.
Did it knock your socks off?
No, I
And
didn't
his
even
left
have those on
shoe.
in the first place, so just a shoe.
Just a shoe.
What time is this going to start at?
So we're looking at, because obviously we have to celebrate midnight. So we're thinking around 10 or 10:30. We're going to have more details to follow. So this is really important. If you want to be a part of our New Year's Eve special, you have to get on Discord or Reddit. You have to be a part of the community to be on. I can't explain how excited I am for us to be live. We're going to take your chats. You can join in on the call. Tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like. This is going to be the most interactive we've ever been with anybody. It's so exciting. But Gordon, do you know what the real thing is? Is they have to have green room. Can you tell them
You
about
have
green
to
room?
have Green Room. Green Room is a lovely addition to Spotify where we are able to go live and just be able to record with all of you guys listening in. You guys can ask to speak with us. You can join us. You can join in the live chat throughout the whole thing. We can bring you on so you can share your opinion on our podcast or just your opinion on some random BS like we love to do on our podcast and just chill with us all night.
And Lizette, do you know what the best part is?
What's
If
that?
are you a listener to Spotify?
Yes.
If you have a Spotify account, you can just download the Green Room app and immediately create an account. How easy is that?
Oh, okay, so it just ties into the account that you already have for Spotify.
Exactly. It's perfect. It's going to be like a 2-second download process and then a 2-second sign in process.
Okay.
Carmen, I don't know about you, but I would really think that it'd be cool if some of our listeners would like either join in on the voice chat or through text and tell us New Year's resolutions. Are you big on New Year's resolutions?
Not so much on resolutions, but I just love being with friends and family, and I think it would be a great time to have more of our friends and family who are listening be a part of this, so that we get to hear from everybody. And what's a better way than celebrating the new year than to start off with a group of friends that are all on the same page?
Exactly. Dylan, I can't wait. Are you excited?
I am. Like I said, I lost my left shoe, and I think the cat took the right.
Oh my gosh,
I should hopefully
you're
find it in time. If not, like you said, I can join through Reddit or I can join through the Discord.
I can't wait. Well, I will see you guys all there, and everybody listening. We hope to have you be a part of our special night. It's the season 1 finale. If you're enjoying the Let's Be Nerds podcast, please come join us and let's kick off the new year together and safely and social distance and just kind of be a part of a group where everybody's welcome and everybody's accepted. Hope to see you there. Let's Be Nerds is hosted and executive produced by Gordon Bryant and me, Stephen J. McLean. Let's Be Nerds is a production of Speak Easily Productions. Our social media manager is Kylie Gregg. Our managing producer and co-host is Lizette Ayala. Today's guest host was Robert Van Jacobs. You can follow him on all social media platforms at Bobby Dub Music. To keep up with the latest on Let's Be Nerds, join our Discord server linked in the description box below. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Be Nerds Pod, or find us on Twitter at Let's the letter B Nerds.